Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again. This is Season 3, Episode number 9 of Empire State Hoops as we are approaching NBA All-Star Weekend out in San Francisco, California. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild, and alongside me, that is Marquise Frias. Once again, here on the show on this beautiful, very windy and very cold Thursday evening on the campus of Susquehanna University. I mean, tell you what, it's cold out there.
I was genuinely had trouble walking up to Applebaum today just because of how windy it was. I tried to go out in a sweater earlier to pick up some food, immediately regretted it. So definitely a very windy day over here in Southern Grove right now.
Just one of those wintry days that we've been used to for the past several months. Hopefully the spring, not too far around the corner, is going to change that a little bit. But today's episode of Empire State Hoops is powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, we've had some interesting games lately with the New York Knicks this past week. The weekend before, they had the dominant franchise known as the Lakers. Mm-hmm. And this past weekend, they had the other dominant franchise known as the Boston Celtics. The defending NBA champions, they defeat the New York Knicks 131-104. This was back on Saturday, February 8th. Jalen Brunson led all scorers for the Knicks with 36 points. Karl-Anthony was held to 9 points. 3 for 8 shooting, which is not a good shooting night for him, of course. Mikal Bridges, 11 points, but shot 5 for 15. Josh Hart, 17 points, but shot 7 for 16. I know there's a lot of things that you wanted to bring up about this, and you said that the Knicks should win this game because it would mean a different standing in the Eastern Conference and kind of make a statement, but they got embarrassed.
I mean, this genuinely showed shades of that season opener, which we definitely didn't want any repeat of that. And I mean, Tatum absolutely killed us. He had 46 and 4. I mean, that's an MVP level performance. So shout out to Tatum for at least putting his team on his back and defeating us. But I mean, when you talk about the Knicks and just overall where they are in the Eastern Conference, I genuinely think that this game and this performance kind of questions for me if we really are true title contenders. I don't know if I'm freaking out or not, but it's just the defense with these star-studded teams. It's hard to defend for the Knicks, and it's honestly kind of scary to see because we're gonna run into these teams again. We have to go through either Boston or the Cavaliers in order to get to the finals this year. So if we run into those teams and just by off the performances we're having in the regular season against them, I'm honestly scared if we run into them. So this performance definitely makes me question if we really are a legit team. We're the third best team in the East. We have over 30 wins and stuff, but I mean, what is it for if you're getting blown out by the best teams in the league? So it was a bit disappointing to see my guys fall, especially in the Garden on a big time game, but I think that this is just a wake up call to all the Knicks, everybody on the staff, everybody on the players, just to let's get really together and figure out how we can really beat these type of teams.
I mean, despite scoring 36 points, Jalen Brunson, and post game with the media and everything, he was able to express how he felt and he held himself accountable. And guess what? As a star player, as being the captain of this team, that's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And Jalen Brunson, he's that type of player. He's going to be that type of person to come up to the media, and he's going to take account for a loss like this. I definitely think that that's what he should do as captain of this team and what everybody else should be doing. But that's genuinely motivational to me, just to say, this was the problem, and we know how to attack it moving forward. So I'm glad that Jalen Brunson was able to do that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he was able to elevate his teammates. I think even with the struggles in this game, they know that this is a team they are going to see in the future. And we'll see, and not too far away on the schedule after the All-Star break, they're going to see them. And we're going to talk about them a lot more next week for sure. But after this, they had to go on the road and take on the mighty Indiana Pacers. And in this game, the Knicks took care of business, did what they had to do, and it was really a game about put up or shut up. And they basically owned the Pacers in this game.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to talk about it, Karl-Anthony owned the Pacers in this game. I mean, he looked incredible. Coming off a bad performance against the Celtics, this is what you want to see from one of your star players for sure. 40 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. What an absolute beast. And not to mention my boy Josh Hart. You got to have Hart. 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Josh Hart and Karl-Anthony Towns combined for a 70-piece. That's always a great stat to see. I think this was just an overall great win for the Knicks coming off a rough loss against the Celtics. And not to mention the Pacers are the 4th in the East. So obviously you want to win those type of games when it's a 3rd and 4th or 3rd and 2nd. It was definitely good to see the Knicks take one in here.
Yeah, and I think this was a much-needed win, especially against an opponent that really they didn't have their number against last season and really kind of shocked them last year, and I think was able to, turn things around in this game, and they did a very good job with that, and that really led to a lot of success in this game, and looking forward to what they have in what they had in their next game as well with the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about like the schedule so far with the Knicks having to go from the Celtics to the Pacers to the Hawks. These are all tough teams, no matter what, if they're the best teams in the league or the worst. These are all pretty much your rivals. So to have the Knicks kind of perform on an almost night-to-night basis against these type of teams and really perform well except for that Celtics game. And we're going to talk about this Hawks game right now, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing with the Knicks, so just being able to go up against tough team after tough team after tough team. It's really inspiring me.
Yeah, when you get star player after star player in every single game, it's always a challenge every day. And I think that's the one thing that Tom Thibodeau really likes about this team, being able to challenge them game by game and day by day, and that's what this team has been so consistent and good with this year. But now when they get the Atlanta Hawks again, last time they played them, I believe, was on Martin Luther King Day, I believe.
I believe so as well, yeah.
And now they play them again. And this time, the Knicks were up by 20 at one point in this game, but the mighty Atlanta Hawks, led by Trae Young, find themselves back in this game. They force overtime, and the Knicks pull away in the end, 149-148. They get a stop on the Hawks' final offensive possession. Niang misses the three. Trae Young's floater was no good. The Knicks get the defensive stop, but Jalen Brunson hits the game winner with 11 seconds to go and does just that, and the Knicks were able to pull away once again by a score of 149-148. But the one thing I was worried about with this game, Stephen A. Smith expressed it today on First Take. Mm-hmm. Defense.
Yep.
Where was the defense in that second half?
A Tom Thibodeau-led team should not be giving up 148 points in a game. And I guess I kind of get that it was overtime, so that's an extended period of time, which means more scoring. But I mean, like, 148 points is honestly like crazy. And this, I don't know if you know this as well, this was the highest scoring game this year for both teams. So like 149 to 148 was the biggest like margin. That's honestly crazy in itself too, that both teams almost got to 150 points in a game. But I mean, you talk about our side. I mean, yeah, the defense was bad, but then you have Karl-Anthony Towns with another 40-point game with 44 and 10. Then you have Jalen Brunson. He obviously hit that game-winning shot, but then he also tackled on 36 and 8 assists. Jalen Brunson and Cat combined for 80, which is awesome again to see because Karl-Anthony Towns just came off combining with 70 points with Josh Hart. I mean, you talk about all around for offensively. This team is just one of the greatest offensive teams I've seen from the Knicks. But defense is where it's going to be a problem for sure. Like I said, Tom Thibodeau is a defensive coach. He should not be letting his guys give up almost 150 points in a game. So I feel like we saw shades of that with the Celtics game as well, where they got up to 130. So I'm honestly, yes, this was a win, but like defense is definitely now a concern if you're the New York Knicks.
Well, the one positive thing I think we have to look at with this game is that going into the All-Star break now, the Knicks have their best record going into the All-Star break in 28 years. Mm-hmm. So that's an impressive thing you got to look at. And that's been probably since the Starks Ewing days. So it's been a long time coming for that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is really like kind of like the midpoint of the year now. So we're really getting to see, where teams are in the rankings, who's going to be real title contenders and who's going to be kind of on the low end of the rankings. And I think I find the Knicks as a contender as long as we clean up the defense. We're going to say that a lot of this episode, but if we clean up that defense, I think we are true title contenders for sure.
Well, you know what they say, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships.
Most definitely. I 100% agree with that statement.
So with that out of the way, and the Knicks have made it to the 2025 NBA All-Star break, and this year it's in San Francisco, California at the brand new Chase Center, which of course opened for the Golden State Warriors back in 2020. So this All-Star Weekend, we are going to break down all three of the challenges. We will go through the skills challenge contestants. We will go through the three-point contest contestants and the slam dunk contest contestants. And we'll talk about the new format for the All-Star Game this year, which is no longer the East-West format, which is what it was last year. It is now a brand new tournament-style format. So we will go over all of this after the break here on Season 3, Episode 9 of Empire State Hoops. We'll be right back.
Hey there, basketball fans. Are you ready to take your love for the game to a whole new level? Well, listen up. We've got something that will make your hoop dreams come true. Introducing Sport Pros USA, the ultimate destination for all your backyard sport court needs. Whether you're a diehard Knicks fan or just looking for some slam dunk fun with your family, Sport Pros USA has got you covered. Picture this. It's a sunny afternoon in New York, and you step out onto your very own custom-built backyard basketball court. The court where legends are born and memories are made. A court where you can unleash your inner baller and shoot hoops like your favorite Knicks players. But it's not just about basketball. It's about family, friends, and fun. Whether you're hosting a game of horse with your buddies or teaching your kids how to dribble and shoot, Sport Pros USA brings the magic of the game right to your doorstep. Our courts are more than just a place to play. They're a place to connect, bond, and create unforgettable moments. And with Sport Pros USA, you can have it all, right in your own backyard. We're not just building courts, we're building dreams. Dreams of buzzer beaters, comebacks, and endless laughter. So why wait? Give us a call at 877-HOOPS-NJ or visit sportprosusa.com today to start designing your very own backyard basketball court. Remember, at Sport Pros USA, we believe that every home deserves a court, and every family deserves the joy of playing together. So don't just watch the game, be a part of it.
And we are back here once again. This is Season 3, Episode 9 of Empire State Hoops. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild, and alongside me, that is Marquise Frias once again here on the show. And to start things off, we recapped the Celtics, the Pacers, and the Atlanta Hawks. And now it's time for 2025 All-Star Weekend. So what challenges do we got coming up? Let's start with the skills challenge. What do we got for opponents?
The skills challenge, it's kind of different this year, interestingly. We got 4 teams of 2. So Team 1 is going to be Team Cavs, featuring Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Team 2 is Team Rooks, featuring Zachary Risachet and Alex Sarr, the number 1 and number 2 overall pick this year. Team Spurs, we got Chris Paul and the alien, Victor Wembanyama. And then rounding it out with Team Warriors, we got Draymond Green and Moses Moody. So this is pretty much going to be like a head-to-head obstacles challenge, which is what the skills challenge has already been for the past couple of years. But I'm not too sure if I'm liking it, just because I was so in love with the previous skills challenge where they had like that bracket style, and it was really like guards versus bigs half the time. So I really loved that skills challenge, but I don't mind the few changes just to switch it up here and there. So I'm definitely excited to see what this one can bring for sure.
And who are you taking in this?
I'm going to go ahead and go with Team Rooks just because it is the skills challenge, and I feel like these two guys kind of got the most skill combined. I honestly, it's kind of crazy to me that Draymond Green and Moses Moody was chosen for the skills challenge. I don't know why. That's just one of the most interesting combinations you can think of for Team Warriors, but I mean, there you go. You have those two in it, but I think I'll take Team Rooks with this one.
I think there's really 2 options for me to choose, I think. I'm thinking Team Cavs or Team Spurs, really, honestly. Because I feel like you have Victor Wembanyama in this challenge. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the biggest advantage I think you're going to get.
And you kind of just said two teammates for both teams. So, I mean, there goes chemistry that also needs you to win these type of challenges for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a big thing with the skills challenge, of course, and that I would say it's not one of the more exciting challenges. I mean, there's the 3-point and the dunk are way more, up there in the upper echelon for sure. So now changing things over to the 3-point contest. So who do we got for there? What's the rundown?
So first up, we got our captain baby, Jalen Brunson. He's going to be representing the New York Knicks in the 3-point contest. We also got Cade Cunningham from Detroit Pistons, Darius Garland from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat, Buddy Hield from the Golden State Warriors. Also, we got Cameron Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets, Damian Lillard from the Bucks, who I believe is the reigning champion, and Norman Powell from the Clippers. So definitely a very interesting pool. These are all some real sharpshooters around the league, so I'm very excited to see this one as well.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, I think, especially the interesting mix with Jalen Brunson, Kate Cunningham, Damian Lillard, Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's won the three-point contest before as well, so I mean, you got to give him the edge a little bit, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see Jalen Brunson in there too. I mean, we know how well he can shoot the three ball, but we'll see how he can do it. But I think it's really hard to choose who wins this. Really, Tyler Hero's another great shooter in there as well. So there's so many guys you can think of to choose for this, but it really depends, honestly. It's really a toss-up.
I think I'm going to go ahead. Like, I'm of course biased, so I'm going to be rooting for Jalen Brunson, but I think I'm going to go ahead and give it to Damian Lillard just because he's the repeat champion, or he's the reigning champion. I feel like he's going to repeat. I feel like we've always see a lot of repeats with the three-point contest, so I'm going to say either Damian Lillard, Buddy Hield, or Jalen Brunson. That's going to be my top three.
Yeah, I like those three. I think I'm definitely going to go. I think Tyler Hero has a shot, maybe. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go underdog. I'm going to go Cade Cunningham, I think.
Nice.
And then I'm going to go Jalen Brunson. Those are my top three.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. You don't really think of Cade Cunningham as like a three-point shooter. Yeah, he could shoot the three ball, but he's almost like, I feel like he's more of a slasher than a three-point shooter. So it's interesting that they have him in the mix, but I honestly wouldn't sleep on any of these guys to just pop off for a big performance in this contest for sure.
And just to sidetrack real quick, let's not forget about the Detroit Pistons. They are 29-26 going into the All-Star break. So last year, me and Matt Vargo were making fun of them so much. Oh my God, we couldn't stop. It was them and the Wizards. We were just clapping and just cheering all day long because of how embarrassing it was last year. But I mean, this year the Pistons, they're shocking.
They're up there for sure with the more of the shocking teams like the Rockets and the Grizzlies for sure, and they've really found their true star in Cade Cunningham. This is going to be his first All-Star game. He's also, as seen, he's going to be participating in the three-point contest. So very exciting times for right now if you're a Detroit Pistons fan for sure.
That's the first Pistons All-Star, I believe, since Blake Griffin in 2019. Wow. I'm pretty sure.
Great pull. Blake Griffin is just one of my favorite players of all time for sure. So.
And speaking of Blake Griffin, he won the slam dunk contest back in, I believe, 2011 with the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yep.
And now transitioning perfectly into that, the slam dunk contest. What's the rundown?
Yeah, so we got Matas Buceles. I believe he's the rookie from the Chicago Bulls. We also got Stefan Castle, from another rookie from the San Antonio Spurs. Andre Jackson Jr. from the Milwaukee Bucks. And your two-time defending champion, Mac McClung from the G League Osceola Magic. Definitely excited to see what Mac McClung. I think being the two-time defending champion, you have to pull off a dunk that nobody has ever seen before for sure. So I'm definitely excited for this one. It's definitely a more interesting pool though, because none of these guys really like stand out to you except for Mac McClung. Like these are mostly rookies, and then I believe Andre Jackson, he's probably like the 6th or 7th man for the Bucks. So definitely an interesting pool for sure.
Yeah, and I think with this, from what we've seen, this is the only time of the year Mac McClung gets attention because he's on the G League team for the Orlando Magic, for anyone here that does not know. So really, he really doesn't really get a lot of attention in the league.
Yeah.
And then his first time he was in the contest, he was on the 76ers and was not getting minutes. So the one thing you're really noticing here is that it's really guys that are really unknown that are getting this spotlight, which I really like for this.
Yeah, and I'm liking it too. And they're incorporating it as well with the Rising Stars Challenge, where they're bringing in more G League guys into the mix with the current rookies and sophomores. So I like that with the league, what the league is doing with that for sure. But I think this is just Mac McClung's to lose it. I think he's far and away the most talented dunker in this pool, so I definitely have Mac McClung to win it for sure.
Is there any other player that you think out of the four that maybe could have at least who do you think is going to be in the final against McClung?
You know what? Yeah, I'd actually Stefan Castle. I've seen he has some bounce here and there. I remember he had that pretty impressive dunk on the Knicks on Christmas Day. So there's that. But honestly, like Mac McClung, I think it's just Mac McClung. Very large gap, and then the next three contestants in any order for sure.
I mean, you literally just took the words straight out of my mouth, really, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty obvious Mac McClung's going to win this dunk contest, but everyone else is just, towards the bottom, basically.
Yeah.
And then I would say, probably Stefan Castle, I think, in the final against him, probably.
Yeah, and honestly, the All-Star Weekend, this is probably one of my favorite times of the sports year. I mean, it's definitely up there with the Super Bowl, which we just had last week. Shout out to the Eagles, by the way, for winning. I don't like the Eagles, but I guess I had to mention it. But the All-Star, I mean, nothing can compare to the All-Star. You got Friday with the celebrity game, Saturday with all these events, and now Sunday just to close it off with the best basketball players in the world on one court. It's definitely going to be a fun weekend for sure.
And now we're going to close things out with that. So with the All-Star game in general, so this new tournament style, I've looked into it a little bit. It's nothing super crazy, really catching my eye. But what specifically do you think is going to benefit this tournament style bracket? We know that on TNT they were drafting the teams, and the teams are all set up now. So what do you think of this tournament style, and which team do you like, or which team do you think is the most interesting, to say the least?
I genuinely think that Team Shaq is the most interesting. I can go down the list of what Team Shaq has. They got LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, who will not play, but I believe Kyrie Irving is filling in for him, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Jalen Brown, and then, like I just said, Kyrie Irving. They're on the website. It's literally called Shaq's OG's team. So he definitely went with the mood of people that have already been here and definitely know all first-time All-Stars on this team as well. So it's definitely going to be interesting to me with all these teams, and there's just a mix of teams and players that it's going to be an interesting mix. Like here, we got Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, SGA, and Victor Wembanyama on Team Chuck. So this whole bracket style is definitely more interesting than the regular two-team East and West format. But I definitely would love to see how each team just collides together. And it's also going to be a pickup style tournament where it's going to be 5 players on the court, obviously, and then you only got 3 on your bench. So I'm definitely interested to see how like the coaches really revolve around this, and really like the players, like their playmaking abilities for sure.
Yeah, and it's going to be the target score thing as well. But what I like about Team Chuck, that's basically all international players on that team. So I find that it's like USA versus world, basically.
You just said that, and I'd look at the name, and it's called Chuck's Global Stars. And I believe almost everybody except for Donovan Mitchell is from outside of the U.S. So that's definitely interesting for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, well, which team do you think has the best chance to win this tournament? Because there's so many teams to choose from, really.
I'm going to give it to Team Chuck, Team Shaq, honestly. I really like what Shaq did with drafting this team just because, I mean, you got the most popular and the best players on the floor together. I mean, you can't stop a Curry, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant trio. Like, I don't think there's any 3 players in the league that's going to be able to stop that. So I'm definitely going to give it to Shaq's OGs.
I would have to completely agree with that as well, because who in the world's going to stop that? Team Chuck? I don't think so.
Nobody. None
of these other teams really, I think, have a shot, but I mean, we'll see what happens, of course. But for now, we're heading into the All-Star Weekend. We hope you enjoy all the fun events. It's going to be a blast out there in Northern California, so should be a ton of fun. But from here, this episode of Empire State Hoops has been powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, we recapped a lot of the games the Knicks have had going into All-Star Weekend. Got to talk a little bit about what the All-Star Weekend is going to look like, all the events, and how everything's gonna pan out. I'm sure the Celebrity All-Star Game will have some funny moments too. We didn't get much into that, but still,
I'm sure too. It's definitely I'll definitely sit down to watch the Celebrity Game just because, I mean, you're gonna have people that almost never touched a basketball in their life shooting hoops, and that's, to me, is one of the funniest things ever. So I'm definitely gonna be tuned in for that.
I mean, is Kevin Hart not the best celebrity basketball player of all time? The man averaged 5 points per game in the Celebrity Game.
MVPs, I believe. So you got to give him where his credit is due for sure.
Celebrity Hall of Famer, I think, right there, honestly. Yep. But from here on Empire State Hoops, I'm your host, Adam Rothschild, and alongside me, that has been Marquise Frias, and we will see you after All-Star Weekend. Have a great rest of your day.